Habitat for Humanity is finding ways to create long-lasting and positive change to the lives of families in need in Santa Clara County. Stay with us to find out about Habitat and how you can help.
Welcome to The Better Part, a program by and for seniors and devoted to exploring the many facets of those better years of our lives. The name of our program is inspired by a quotation from Robert Browning. Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be, the last of life for which the first was made.
We don't actually cut, so. Yeah. It's symbolic.
Owning a home is the American dream, but out of reach for most low-income families. The Better Part would like to congratulate Habitat for Humanity Silicon Valley for completing their 50th home in Santa Clara County. Homes which change the lives of families in need. Homes built by volunteers of all ages. I'm Val Jeffrey, and I'd like to welcome as my guest Jennifer Simmons, Habitat for Humanity Silicon Valley's Executive Director. Welcome, Jennifer, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a pleasure.
So who started Habitat for Humanity?
Well, it was not Jimmy Carter. A lot of people believe that President Carter was our founder, but he in fact is just our most famous volunteer. And Habitat for Humanity was started by a gentleman named Millard Fullard and in Georgia, and it was out of the idea that the community could come together and help a family build and own their own home. He had seen this done in other places and felt that, kind of similar to a barn raising and whatnot, that a community could come together and help those less fortunate build and own their own homes.
And you've got now to 50 homes in
Yes,
Silicon Valley.
We have. It's quite exciting. And what I like to tell people is it's not just Habitat who does that. We could not do our building without the community. All of our fundraising comes from the local community. All of our volunteers come from the local community, and our families come from the local communities.
What's the mission of Habitat for Humanity, and how long has the Silicon Valley chapter been in operation?
Our affiliate's been in operation for about 23 years. We started here in the 80s, and we've been building ever since, and our mission is to help strengthen families and communities for generations to come. We do that through helping provide families the opportunity to build and own their own homes, and we're able to do that by using community volunteers to help build the home. About 80% of the home is built through volunteer labor, and we fundraise for the cost of the home through the local community.
50 homes. That's
Yes.
a lot of homes.
It is.
And it takes a lot of volunteers to do that.
Yes.
And I really think that it would be good to pay tribute to some of the people who have helped make that happen.
Sure. We have a tremendous team. We could not have done it without our regular volunteers. These are people who come out at least once a week. They're our core group of volunteers. And people will say, you know, can I come volunteer for Habitat? And I say, yes, the average age during the week is 75. Come on out.
I'm Ray Mensing, and I have about 4,000 hours with Silicon Valley, but earlier I worked with Peninsula Habitat.
What's special about working with Habitat?
Everything.
Hi, my name's Jim Luce. I've been doing this for 12 years, one day a week in between my golf games. And I enjoy it every day. And it's good to see the families get in and finally get what they're after.
Hi, I'm Barbara Snyder, and my husband and I have been here every Wednesday on this. We've put in several thousand hours in Silicon Valley Habitat, plus we've done it worldwide, including 3 years in Eastern Europe with Habitat.
Also, there are community partners. Our last set of homes was completed in the city of Santa Clara. We could not have done it without their help in finding land and financing. And then the community. We work a lot with corporations in the area, with foundations, and other resources to help to fund and build the homes. And then, of course, our staff, I would like to say, helps a lot. And we have a special person, Patrick Ham, who has helped build almost all of the 50 homes and has been with us for about 17 years. So he's a wonderful person, leader, and I think is part of the reason our volunteers keep coming back.
And I do know that you dedicated the 50th home to Patrick.
We did.
And there was a plaque on the wall.
Yes.
Patrick, I know this is a very, very happy day for you. Did you know anything about the plaque?
No, I knew absolutely nothing about it, but I will get even.
So how did they hide it from you? It's actually fixed to the house.
I have no idea, but I'm going to be more careful in the future and monitor him closer.
What's it like working with Patrick?
Very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Did he know anything about this plaque?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I don't think he did.
So how did you keep it a secret from him?
We had to have some secret meetings on how to do this and where exactly it was going to be placed and how to do it. So kind of what happens when we get ready for a dedication is us as staff in the office kind of transcend or come out to the site and start putting up signage and whatnot. And for the most part, the construction volunteers just ignore what we do. So we arranged with his site super, Brent Kuntz, to hang up the sign, and then we immediately put a marketing poster over it. So he just figured it was something we did, and it was hidden underneath, and he never checked.
What a special thing to do. That was so nice of you to do it.
Oh, it was our pleasure. We cannot begin to thank Patrick for his dedication to Habitat, not only to the organization, but to the families and the volunteers. He's just been amazing.
Well, I think they pay you other tributes as well. I noticed in one of the houses there is a painting of you. How did that come about?
One of the homeowners from Grant in Campbell painted it from a photo and then gave it to me. I didn't know anything about that one either. I'm slipping.
Does it follow you around the houses?
No. It usually hangs in my living room, but I thought a little harassment on this project was good, so I brought it down.
You've always got a joke, Patrick.
It's fun. Yeah.
So when did you first get into this?
About 18 years ago, when we were building 4 homes in El Viso, and got hooked on it, which is very easy to get hooked on Habitat, and been doing it ever since and enjoying it ever since.
Do you have a big turnover of volunteers?
No, we're very fortunate. During the week, we have a regular group of retired people that show up. Some of them 1, some of them 2. Average age is 72. One of them is 88. And they keep coming back and helping us out. They're terrific.
So how many houses are you going to be building in the next 5 years, did Jennifer say?
She said 50. I think that's an optimistic. Land is hard to find in this valley. We're lucky when we find a piece of property to be able to put 5 or 6 homes on it, you know.
At what point do you get involved? Right from the beginning?
No, I usually get involved once they've got the land and they've started to design a home, and then I get to put my 2 cents in as to, you know, maybe if we change this, it'll make it easier to construct or that.
How many people do you think that you use on any one house?
Oh, God. How many volunteers come out for a project? In the hundreds. I couldn't even give a wild guess. I mean, they're from high school students doing their community service, to people in college, to individuals, to just people that want to help out.
Have you got any special funny story about one of the programs?
No, it's just a joy. Every bit of it is a joy.
So everything goes smoothly?
Every day's a holiday and every meal's a banquet.
I have to tell you, you're a remarkable person, and I really thank you on this busy day for taking the time to speak to me.
It's my pleasure. It's a load of fun. Thank you.
And we even have some specialty crews at this point. We have our crew of electricians, crew of plumbers that we will schedule out onto the different sites. And from what I understand, I don't think any of the people on those crews had that as a trade in their working career, that this is all something that they've been taught by Habitat and have learned over the years, and now are what we call master builders.
You mentioned the families. They actually also volunteer. They have to do so many hours, I believe, on their homes.
Yes.
How many hours do they have to do?
A minimum of 500 sweat equity hours. And I say a minimum because if they finish all of their sweat equity hours in the beginning, we still require them to work on the home. Our idea is that through helping to build their home, that they'll also understand how it was put together and be able to maintain it in the future. What I find is they enjoy coming out, they enjoy being with the volunteers, and they enjoy participating in building their own home. So they go above and beyond what's required of them.
And I'm assuming none of them really are builders themselves. So
No.
any skills that they learn help them maintain their own homes.
Definitely. Usually when we start the orientation in the beginning, we start it with a safety talk and how to use tools, because a lot of the families have never picked up a power tool, used a hammer, and don't know anything about construction. So through the process of building their home, they learn all of those skills, and we hope that someday, if you know, a hole gets put in the wall, they'll be able to cut it out and repatch it without calling us.
Good.
They probably know more than I know about how to keep my own house up to date.
Well, learning how to do things on the house is a skill that we have to pick up, and what better way to do it than from experts?
Oh, definitely.
And another thing really is financial. Until you've owned a home, you don't know how much money you're paying out.
Exactly.
So do you teach them fiscal responsibility?
Definitely. Our process is kind of two-step. We pick the families very early on. Most of the time when you purchase a home, it's a very quick process. For us, they're selected before the home is built so they can participate in the building. And then over that time period, we also do a series of training courses. They have to do credit counseling, budgeting, fiscal responsibility, and conflict resolution. This last build, we were able to do sustainable gardening with our families.
Oh, wonderful.
And the one that I like most, because being a homeowner myself and how little I knew going into the purchasing process, we spend at least 3 days training them on legal documents. So every document they sign at their closing, they will have seen before and will have been explained ad nauseum to them.
That's very useful.
Yeah.
Do they know which home is going to be theirs, and do they work on each other's homes or what?
They don't usually know. If we have multiple homes going at one time, they may have an indication by their family size. But if we have similar size families and say three-bedroom homes, they won't know exactly which is theirs until the very end when we're starting to pick out finishes. So it's very communal. They're there, they're working on each other's homes. So the idea is that they put equal effort into every part of the build.
How do you find the land, and who pays for that?
The land is very challenging. We usually work with the different cities in Santa Clara County, either to see if they have surplus land, or if the county has surplus land, or if they have funding available for us to purchase property. So it's either one or two ways. We look for our city partners. Each city has to create or has goals on creating affordable housing in their area. So we work with them to try to either find the property and use their housing funds to purchase it, or if they might have some excess property that will work.
How do you figure out what types of building you're going to be putting on these plots of land?
Sure, we have some of our own standards on size, and we try to build a decent, simple, affordable home. So there's not a huge amount of bells and whistles in our homes, but we also look at the surrounding neighborhood. So the first thing that we'll do when we start the design process is go out to the neighborhood, take pictures of the surrounding homes to make sure that our design fits well within the neighborhood. Our goal is that when you drive by, that you don't see a Habitat home, you just see a great home. And we want our homeowners to fit in with the rest of the neighborhood.
The people that have the homes, how do you find them? How do they apply for the homes?
Usually the cities that we build in require that they live or work within the cities that we build. So we don't maintain, say, a list and the next person up on the list gets a house. We go out and we recruit per build, but if you have ever applied for a Habitat home with Habitat, we keep you in a database and we let you know of every upcoming build. So, for example, we're starting the process in Cupertino. We'll be building in Cupertino next year and probably starting the family selection sometime next year. But right now we're holding a series of workshops on how to become a Habitat homeowner. At these workshops we go over what are the things that we look for, the financial criteria, and the willingness to partner, and some of the other program pieces, and help families get prepared so next year they can show up, they can fill out an application and get into the process.
So they really, it's usually a year before that you start doing that, and then people apply the following year. And then how long does the whole process take?
It can take between 3 and 6 months for us to select families, because once they have qualified financially, our volunteers on our homeowner selection committee will go out and visit them at least twice in their home. We really want the families to understand the program and to understand what they're getting into. So we spend a lot of time to make sure that we're not only picking families that are financially qualified, but are the best fit with us and the community that they're going to join.
At the 50th celebration, 50th home, I met Mary Hughes, and she was the chair of the family selection committee when it first started. And she explained the procedure to me.
We advertise and we hold community meetings and invite applications, and then we have to process the applications in several steps until we get down to the ones who are financially qualified, and then we interview them. We do home visits and interview them. They have to live in substandard housing, and that's a term of art. Either because the house itself has physical problems. It could be the electrical system, windows that don't lock, could be neighborhood problems, you know, an unsafe neighborhood. Could be issues where someone is living in a house that doesn't suit their needs because they have a disabled member. And for instance, if a wheelchair has to be carried up 2 flights of stairs, that's not adequate housing. They have to have a solid work history, they have to have a steady income, and they meet the minimum income requirements, and it varies from project to project depending upon the cost or projected cost. And they have to have good credit. So we look for all of those things, and then everyone that qualifies, the committee also, by doing the home visits, 2 sets of visiting teams at 6 people get a chance to meet them, and we discuss them and vote.
Do the family selection committee make the final decision?
They do. I will say that it's affirmed by our board of directors, but it's really our volunteers on the family selection committees that do the legwork to visit the families in their home, and then they recommend the finalists for panel interviews with myself and the director of homeowner relations, and then whomever qualifies from there gets voted on by the family selection committee, and then they're recommended to the board of directors for affirmation. So it's really our volunteers that help select the homeowners.
The prices of homes around here, Cupertino, everywhere, pretty expensive, which means that they have to be sold under market value for the low-income families to afford them. How does that work?
Well, we have some criteria that is dictated to us by the Housing and Urban Development from the U.S. government. We serve families that earn less than $54,000 a year for a family of four, and we have to make sure that not more than a third of their gross income is spent toward their housing expenses. That includes their base mortgage, their taxes, and insurance. So we have some modeling that we do based on the number of bedrooms and family size that then we use to set the home price and make sure that it's going to be affordable for the families that will apply.
Do you put any furniture or anything into the house?
Not usually. We do get offered donations for furniture and different decorating supplies, so we usually then try to connect the families with those donors.
When they pay their monthly mortgage, what happens to that money?
It gets paid forward. We offer our families a zero interest 30-year mortgage that is provided by Habitat. So when they make their payments, those payments go directly back into our building efforts for the next Habitat family.
Where does the money come from?
Where does it come from? It comes from everywhere in the community. We receive government funding through the Cal Home Prop 1C initiatives that were passed several years ago that help self-help housing, such as ourselves. We also fundraise with individuals, corporations, our local cities, and the faith community. The faith community is a huge supporter of Habitat for Humanity.
Fundraising is not a nice task. I don't find it a nice task.
So I have to say it's not my favorite.
Tell me about the committee, the wonderful people who do the fundraising.
We do have a fund development committee. It's made up of board members and volunteers, and they do an amazing job. So what they do is we have different facets of fund development. Either they help with individual fundraising, there's special events to help plan and organize, and grant writing. I would say about 80% of our grants are written by volunteers. So it's a wonderful process where myself and the other people on our fundraising team get together with our volunteers, and we kind of divvy up the work to get the funding that we need.
Do the International Habitat for Humanity give any funds?
Not really. The way that the process works is, as a Habitat affiliate, we're wholly owned like a subsidiary. So we run ourselves. We have our own board of directors. We do all of our own fundraising to support ourselves, and we actually tithe money back to Habitat for Humanity International. So about roughly 10% of everything we raise, we send back to Habitat for Humanity to support their international building efforts. We do get support from international in other ways. They help get national contracts with companies like Whirlpool that provides free appliances to our homes. Also Thrivent Financial for Lutherans, which will sponsor homes and pay for about 90% of the cost and supply half the volunteers, and just a whole other host of programs. So although we might not get a check from international, they do support us in a vast array of other areas.
You've just started your first green project.
Yes.
Totally green project. Yes. So how does that vary from traditional building?
Well, it's kind of funny. A few years ago we said, well, you know, green is really popular. We should start researching and looking into this. And what we found was our projects that were currently under construction were already green and meeting the green standards. It had been a long time value of ours that not only do we help sell an affordable home to our families, but that we make that home affordable for them long term. So we started putting in solar, tankless water heaters. We look at the landscaping to make sure that we're using as little water as possible. So we decided on our Morgan Hill build, which is currently under construction, that we would seek Green Point rating, which is the California Residential Green Certification. For us, it's the first step toward green rating process, and we're hoping to have the Cupertino project be our first LEED certified project, and that's more of a national certification.
So you'll have a lot of contact with the city of Cupertino during that process.
Oh, definitely. We are now. They're our biggest friend right now in working through the design and development.
I read something that said that you're going to do 50 houses in 5 years. How are you going to do that?
Well, it's going to take a lot of money, but also just the volunteers and time. One of the programs that we're looking at participating in that will help us toward that goal is through the National Stabilization Program. You may have heard that there's a lot of foreclosed homes out there on the market.
Absolutely.
And our federal government has stepped up and is providing funding to nonprofits like ours to help purchase and rehab and then sell those homes. So we're hoping to participate in this process, and what's exciting for us is we can make a big difference in a short amount of time, because we won't be building the home from scratch, but we'll be rehabbing it, making it green, and then be able to sell it to a family with very low income.
That's wonderful that you can adapt to the situation and
Definitely.
the monetary problems that we have now. That's
Yes.
really, really good.
Yes.
So how can volunteers contact you, and are there any age restrictions?
The only age restriction we have on our build site is you have to be older than 16. Unfortunately, our insurance doesn't allow younger members out on site, but there are lots of other things they can do, such as bringing lunches and visiting the site. But from 16 up to however old you would like to be when you come out, we support. So we do the building on our sites, both on the weekdays and the weekends, and on our website. If you click the Volunteer Now button, you can see all the open available dates. Also, we welcome volunteers in our office, usually Monday through Friday. We're buzzing with volunteers helping us do data entry and mailings and grant writing and everything else that we can think of. So just either check out our website and sign up there, or call the office and we'll get them set up.
You're doing an absolutely wonderful job.
Oh, thank you.
And when I was at the 50th, I heard one homeowner say that she defines her life as before Habitat and after Habitat. And you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
All of the families have got their homes because of Habitat for Humanity, and I hope this program in some way helps Habitat.
Oh,
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
A house is nothing more than nails and wood and pipes and wires. But a home is all of that, plus love, care, dedication, and pride.
If you would like a copy of this program or any of the Better Part programs, please contact us through the Cupertino Senior Center, 408-777-3150, or visit our website, www.thebetterpart.com. A selection of our programs are also available through the Santa Clara County Library System and on YouTube. I'm Val Jeffrey for The Better Part, and I thank you for watching.